What's going on, esteemed witnesses of the courtroom? Got a gold silver crystal match versus Crobat for the win. Check out his channel after the match and let's get into the battle. Alright, so I'm going to be leading with Clavier Gavin. He is going to lead with For the Win, his signature Pokemon. I figured Thunder Waving Crobat is really cool, so I just decided to Thunder Wave whatever comes in, which happens to be this Exeggutor. Now, so far, from what I've seen, Crobat is handled by quite a few things on my team, so I'm just going to let Gavin go to sleep. And looking at it, I'm not sure how much it makes a difference, but we shall see. So I'm going to go into my Exeggutor because outside of Hidden Power Fire and Double Edge, he cannot hurt me, as he's going to make a switch into Buggy, his Fortress. And I am going to surprise him here with the Hidden Power Fire. So no spikes are going to be set up on his side of the field, and that is going to be absolutely beneficial for me. Because knowing Crobat, it's definitely a Toxic Staller, and Toxic plus Spikes residual is not a good thing. Especially when it comes to things that want to stay in longer and not have to worry about switching out over and over again. He predicts me to switch out here as he switches into this T-Tar, but I'm not scared of T-Tar because I do have Giga Drain, and unless he has Crunch, which I'm not sure if he has or not, I was like, okay, he went for Pursuit first turn, so he's probably not going to Pursuit this turn, allowing me to get a free switch into whomever I choose to go into, which this time my decisive witness will be Detective Goodman, as he switches back into For the Win. Now, I'm not sure what kind of Crobat this is, but he is going to reveal to me that it does have the Confuse Ray. We did have two battles, one of which we only got about halfway through. Never ever try to record using the TGB dual recorder because it messes up the battle. And that sucks. And originally I would have gotten off an icy win here, but since we're in the second battle, I'm going to hit myself with Confusion and take a Giga Drain and switch out to Joe Dark only to meet an oncoming Toxic attack. That speed down on Crobat would have been very beneficial, but as you see, I'm not going to get it. And if you guys remember when I battled Chari long time ago, and Confusion fuckle sucks, because I kept getting confused and attracted and kept hitting myself with Confusion and whatnot, and it just wasn't a good day for science or for Pokemon battling, most specifically. So now I'm trying to figure this out. I've already hit myself with Confusion and I've got toxic damage racking up, so I figure he's not going to predict my switch into Exeggutor here. He really didn't care what I switched into as long as he got a Confuse Ray down. I was more worried about coming in on the wing attack, but luckily that doesn't happen. I'm kind of predicting him to go to Eggy, thinking that I'm going to go for Psychic, which he does, but I'm going to hit myself with Confusion as I was going to try to go for the HP Fire, because as I said previously, I am not the slightest bit afraid of this opposing Exeggutor in any way, shape, or form. I actually decided to go for the Psychic, predicting a switch back to Crobat, predicting my hidden power. But he just decides to boom, so kind of a trade-off here. We both trade our Exeggutors. Kind of a fair trade, I guess. I feel pretty good about that. I guess it'll work. I decided to go back into Bruce Goodman as he's going to go back into For the Win. Now, it looks like Giga Drain from this range is a 3-hit KO. I figured he's going to want to get the Confusion going because it has worked very well thus far for him. In the favor of the Hax Gods. And again, I'm going to hit myself with Confusion. So what I figured this turn is, okay, maybe I'll break Confusion, maybe I'll get through it, and maybe I won't be confused anymore. Whatever the case, I'm going to explode because Icy Wind is not going to bring it to a range that I can outspeed it and kill it. So luckily, I am going to be able to explode on this thing, which is great because it's fast, it's a threat, it spreads Toxic. So far, I haven't seen any Roar users, and luckily, the spikes weren't down. That would have made this match much tougher than it needed to be. So here, I'm going to get the much better end of the bargain, facing down a T-Tar with my Machamp, and I know I can easily win this matchup. So I'm going to predict him to go out to his Gengar, and I proved to be perfectly correct here, going for the Earthquake on this oncoming Gengar. Going to get a crit. I knew with spikes not being down, I would not one-shot this thing, but luckily I do get the crit. That's the only reason I took it out, because it is an unstaffed attack. So now he's going to bring in Suicune, and Suicune is a massive threat to the rest of my team. My best counter to it is down, and my other 4 counter to it is also down. So what I figure here is just to protect, just to scout, I know this thing's going to go for a Toxic, and the last thing I want on my Misdreavus is Toxic, so I'm just going to go for a Mean Look here as he just decides to roar me away out into my Quagsire. Now, I do have Drum Quagsire. Again, I'm kind of testing the last 2 slots. I've played with this team a lot that Mao and Z's Master and me made, but I have changed the last 2 slots over and over again, and this match, it actually is Misdreavus and Quagsire. So I figure here, the best move to go for is the Stabbed Cross Chop, to stick with Stab when in doubt. And he's going to bring in Desi Delight once again, and I figure Desi Delight can just go for an Earthquake. I'm not going to be able to deal too much to it. My ideal perspective is to bring it down to a range somehow that it's got a rest, which is why I'm actually going to bring in Joe Dark here, even though I've got to step into the Toxic damage and the Surf. After Leftovers, I am at a healthy 170. And even what I really need here is the critical hit, because if I can get the critical hit and bring it down to a range that it has to rest, I can Perish Trap it. Oh, but Vec, you're crazy. This thing has Roar. You can't Perish Trap it. Yes, I can. I can Mean Look it, and on its turn that it roars, go for the Protect. Now, I knew the rest was obvious, but I could not risk in any way him going ahead and killing me and me switching out into something to take unnecessary damage. So I just decided to hit it with an Earthquake, which is fine anyway, because my Machamp's going to go down to the Toxic anyway, which is my Switch initiative specifically. I know he's going to have to sleep for 2 turns, so I go straight away for the Perish Song. Now, that's probably going to force this thing out either way, because T-Tar has a pretty strong matchup versus Misdreavus. On a basic sense of the word, I'm kind of thinking the way he's come in twice, I'm kind of thinking it has Crunch. It hasn't been revealed that he has Crunch, but I think it's pretty obvious. But I think after the fact, I learned that it just has Pursuit because he just stays on the Pursuit. Now, because he swapped out, my Perish count is still down to 1, and I figure, you know what? Perish trapping Coon's really not a big deal. I just need to wake Ampharos up and possibly drum on the switch with Quag. It's really not too big of an issue. I'm just going to leave a parting gift of Perish Song and Toxic on this T-Tar, and then I'm going to bid my adieu and vanish. So I'm going to go out to Desi Delight, and you don't know how close I was to clicking Belly Drum here because it's not a Rest Talk Coon. But the only problem with that is, even if he would outspeed me and take me out with Crunch after Belly Drum, so I would have gotten a free rest and drum right here. But it's not the case because I was too scared of the Crunch. And I'm just going to have to bring in Gavin. Now, my only hope here is for Gavin to wake up because I have played with this team enough to know this is a 2-shot no matter what, because Ampharos has about the same special on the range of Magneton in 2nd gen, and that's pretty high special attack coming from something all that slow. I also did replace Cotton Spore with Thunder Wave because I figured Thunder Wave does the same thing and it really doesn't miss unless you're going to attack a ground type. So I did switch that up too. But I basically took Umbreon out for Misdreavus because Misdreavus was doing the same thing that Umbreon's doing with the Mean Look shenanigans and trapping. And I replaced Typhlosion with Quagsire because I had nothing to handle Zapdos outside of Ampharos, which wasn't enough. So I'm going to come in on this Surf. He does get a crit, which is very unfortunate. That brings me to a range that I cannot take it the way... I cannot take as many Surfs as I once could have. Looking at this range, I can't take another one, even at 98 health. So what I decided to do is use the old Leftovers trick. Luckily, he did not get those Toxics off early game. That is going to enable me to switch around with Leftovers, even though here Desi Delight's going to come to a range that Surf will easily take her out. Kind of unfortunate, but, you know, it is what it is. Like I said, even with the drum, I was too scared outside of Crunch. So, the miracle turnabout has got to happen right here. I'm going to live with 13 HP because of the switch into Leftovers. I get to para this thing as he comes in, as I come in on him, swapping in after Quagsire dying, which is really awesome because I know for a fact that T-Bolt is a 2-shot on this thing with no issues. I have a couple other thoughts. I'm kind of thinking about making Gavin a Rest Talker. Kind of absorb status. I might throw Thunder on it to spread extra paralysis. Pretty much does the same job as Thunder Wave. It's a lot slower. Since it's a slow Pokemon, it benefits from having that Rest Talk. So that's a couple things to think about. So here I am going to get the Miracle of the Ages, get a full para on this thing, which brings it in the range I can two-shot, and this massive threat is out of the way. So what this match is down to is a Rock Slide miss and a Dynamic Punch hit will end this match for either side. And here we go. Got to slow this down. Here it goes. And I'm not going to take a Rock Slide, unfortunately, and that is going to be the end of a game. That was an amazing game, Crobat, for the win. If you guys enjoyed, if you guys like the second generation, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and share this video with others. And you know the rules: rate, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, peace out, objection, and find the computer room, and peace.